What is going on, IF Warriors? It's your boy Edward V, and today I'm going to talk about why Jeremy Ethier is actually wrong when it comes to intermittent fasting. He's not entirely wrong, he's not 100% wrong, but there is a specific aspect, and I'm sure you guys know which one it is, and I'm going to talk about that in this video. Stay tuned. I don't know if I'm butchering his last name, so I do apologize for any Jeremy Ethier fans or subscribers who are coming over to this video. First of all, I want to say that the majority of what he's talking about in terms of things like the metabolic rate not being affected if you do high meal frequencies versus low meal frequencies, on those points he is correct. The studies on metabolism and its effect with meal frequency has been thoroughly reviewed and shows that metabolic rate isn't negatively impacted by meal frequency. But he falls into the trap that most all people who are talking about intermittent fasting as a whole and trying to look at systematic reviews or meta-analysis, the same trap that they all fall into, and it's that they look at these intermittent fasting protocols that are only intermittent fasting in title alone and not intermittent fasting when you actually dive super deep into the studies looking at the systematic reviews. Now, he mentions that the systematic review that he's referring to looks at 40 different studies and clinical trials to determine that intermittent fasting doesn't have any significant fat loss benefits to normal caloric restriction. Now, caloric restriction is extremely important. That is an important factor to weight loss. However, Jeremy in his video stated that because of the conclusion of this systematic review, that he believes that there isn't any significant benefits to intermittent fasting versus simply caloric restriction. Now, keep in mind, caloric restriction still has to be part of the equation, because if you're at a caloric surplus, you will be at a higher energy balance and your body would not need to use body fat for fuel because you have the calories needed to fuel your body. However, if you are at a caloric restriction and you're implementing intermittent fasting, there will be a body fat loss benefit to utilizing intermittent fasting. Not a weight loss specific benefit, but a body fat loss specific benefit. Now, if you're confused by that, understand that there are so many variables that determine weight loss. It isn't simply body fat. As much as some people want to put everything else in the background, glycogen, muscle loss, water retention, and body fat are part of the equation for weight loss. So in the study itself, there were reviews that looked at weight loss alone without looking at body fat. I didn't care to look at those. Now let's go ahead and critique this systematic review. Now, the systematic review is claimed to be 40 different studies looking at calorie restriction and intermittent fasting when calories and protein are equated for, but none of those two things are happening. One, calories and protein aren't equated for. Some of the studies let you eat protein ad libitum, and ad libitum means that you can eat as much protein as you want. There isn't a restriction there. Some restricting carbs but not restricting protein, some restricting protein but not carbs. So there is protein isn't being equated for based on this study, and then calories are not even being equated for. Some people can eat a certain amount of calories on one day, and then the next day they can eat ad libitum as much as they want. It doesn't matter. They don't have to pay attention to it. And I looked at the design model for all of these studies, and they were all that way. Individually looking at the studies, you can see that there are many flaws to this systematic review. And then this systematic review starts to deteriorate more and more as you look more into it and start to look at when the comparisons are being done to caloric restriction. Now, of the 40 studies, only 12 actually compared caloric restriction with intermittent fasting. So the rest of those studies are just simply a look at what intermittent fasting or intermittent energy restriction can do to your body. And there are many comparative studies with Ramadan versus caloric restrictions that exist, but this publication for some reason stated that they wanted to omit any Ramadan studies that had anything to do with Ramadan because it didn't fit the protocol of intermittent fasting. And by that they mean the popular methods like 5-2 diet, the 16-8 diet, the warrior diet, 1 meal a day, etc. It didn't fit that protocol. But then if you look at the studies that they did include, there's one from the Journal of North American Menopause Society, and their setup was 5 weeks of continuous caloric restriction, normal caloric restriction, versus 5 weeks of caloric maintenance. And they considered that the intermittent fasting protocol versus the caloric restriction protocol, which was 15 weeks of caloric restriction with 5 weeks of maintenance. That's that is not anywhere near intermittent fasting. That's what you guys have to look into when you see these systematic reviews, these meta-analysis. What's the actual protocol, and is it truly intermittent fasting? Are you eating 0 calories, 100% energy restriction versus days or hours where there is energy restriction? Because that is truly intermittent fasting. You have to understand that if calories are allowed to be consumed during the fasting time, there are so many metabolic and hormonal functions that will not activate. I'll link the studies to the 15 clinical trials done by Dr. Stephen Anton, as he touches on that metabolic switch, and he breaks it down perfectly so that you understand that after a certain period of literally not consuming anything is when your body switches over. If you're not allowing that switch over to happen, those extra significant benefits will not be seen. So there's 12 studies that even compare caloric restrictions with intermittent fasting, and then of those 12 studies, only 5 studies even looked at body fat mass. So now we've taken this entire mountain of studies of 40 clinical trials, we've reduced it to 12 that even compare caloric restrictions with intermittent fasting, and then we reduced those 12 to 5 that even compare intermittent fasting with caloric restriction in terms of body fat mass loss. And of all 5 of these, well, one was the one that I mentioned with the 5 weeks of caloric restriction and then 5 weeks of caloric maintenance. 2 of them were from the International Journal of Obesity, one which allowed over 1,000 calories on your fasting days. The other one allowed about 600 and something calories on your fasting days. Another one was from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, which allowed 600 calories on your fasting days. And the other one was from the British Journal of Nutrition, which allowed you to eat fat and protein ad libitum and was only restricting carbohydrates. So of all of these 5 studies comparing intermittent fasting with caloric restriction, none of them actually compared intermittent fasting with caloric restriction. So we've whittled down all these 40 studies to just 12, to just 5, and then those 5 don't even do what they're supposed to be doing. So if you look at the presentation of this study given by someone like Jeremy, what you will think in your head is that there have been 40 studies looking at 0 calorie intake days or hours versus feeding days or hours versus just caloric restriction. Link below, I'll have 2 studies where you see 1 meal a day is done at 0 caloric restriction, and you will see that there's significant fat loss there, and calories and protein are equated for. And then you'll also see resistance trained athletes who did the 16-8 diet versus caloric restriction, and there was significant body fat loss there as well. The 15 clinical trials will also be linked below that show significant body fat loss advantage and lean mass protection for intermittent fasting groups versus those that do caloric restriction. This video is simply a way to balance the information on the internet so that when you guys see something like this, you can reference a video like this one. I've mentioned this specific topic so many times because so many people get this wrong. I have the video here, the video here, the video here, and now this video. And as long as people continue to put out videos like that, I will also continue to put out videos like this. I know people don't have a lot of time to look into these studies, not to mention to actually access all of those studies inside of those 40 clinical trials. I actually had to purchase the systematic review and then read the full systematic review and then link towards all the other studies and then read those. And my main goal was to look at the actual design. I'm looking for a design with 0 caloric intake. Now keep in mind that there were studies in the systematic review that use 0 caloric intake for the fasting periods, but they were not compared to caloric restriction. And in those studies, they showed really good, significant fat loss, but compared to nothing. So there's nothing really that we can take from that study, except that it helps you lose weight, but compared to what? We don't know. Plus, there are many Ramadan studies that are directly compared to caloric restriction that show significant advantages for intermittent fasting, were completely omitted from the offset simply because it was a Ramadan study, because it didn't fit IF protocols, yet there were studies that were included that were nowhere near IF protocols, when Ramadan actually closely mimics protocols like the warrior diet or 1 meal a day. The links to all of the studies that I mentioned will be in the description down below. And of course, I want to thank my patrons from my Patreon, and I'm going to put their names right